Birth of cloudburst, origami gold leaf sandalwood scented love note to self first. Spell, words casting, tell, birds passing, everything is everlasting. Cannot be created or destroyed, change rules everything around me. Cash carries no current. Supercapacitors can be made from graphite dust and scotch tape. The soundscape you choose can harm or heal. How must veal feel knowing that chia has more protein? Build spirulina bioreactors. Raise scientist farmers, not child actors. Ancient future, not backwards. Black birds carry the full spectrum of light on their back. Word? Without dark matter, where would we be? Praise the sun, the shadow, and the tree. What pages will you fill with sweetness if you never shed a breath of flowers? For all my spell-casting spellers, tree-top dwellers, humble truth tellers. Baby mamas and daddies unite, definers of words and rap battles with songbirds. In the dance a lexicon, in the stance a hexagon. Styles undomesticatable. Words called to be written on nights of East Oakland shotgun fight soundscape and the days of big bad bootcamp bang bang. Words of indigenous superfruit, non-genetically modified root. Spirulina chia love songs, brand new drum songs, songs of decolonizing heart, mind, and diet. Chant down aspartame and played out fame. Be Tlaquilo, not producer of graffito. These are glyphs, not the markings of conquest. Be ancient innovator, even in the days of Darth Vader. Making globes of light out of this 26-barred cage of alphabet. Escaping possessive nouns with arrows, stars, and clouds. Words, a beautiful form of self-preservation, gestation. The whiteness of the page tries to cause flow blindness. The politeness of the age tries to cause faux kindness. Trick locks of hidden spells in lexicon. Be co-creator, time and space portal maker, natural human, produce more than you've been consuming. Not a Marine, not from Corpus Christi, Texas. Natural law, not habeas corpus. 22 kilohertz standing wave sonic levitation. Lexicon of dodecahedron on an internal odyssey, spoken sacred geometry. Golden seed, not a commodity. Oddball glyphology. Don't be a microphony ruled by paper and lithography. Clap your hands to the algorithm. Be a farmer, not an alpha villain. Manifesting blessings in the form of a bicycle plow. Here and now, turning spray cans from the past into wind turbines of the future. Heartbeat producer, fresh beat juicer. Make your whole body feel looser. Rock to the rhythm since a chair's a booster. Speech and silence, my outline and my feeling. From Bootcamp to the Bay, working, puffing, planting, chilling. Solar water distilling, clean water collecting off the ceiling. This is condensation, not cotton candy codex. This is audio aquifer. Time filters all whackness. Golden thread connects us to all of creation. No time for Xbox or PlayStation. At dawn, giving thanks, receiving much more than just mental stimulation. There is no little happy bouncy ball from word to word. This is a stereographic panorama view. Little beautiful words, please come out of your cocoon.
Diaspora pulled from me an infinite melody, so precious it remained subterranean. To be subterranean is to be hidden like treasure, glistening under exquisite chambers of earth, luminous pockets filled with water, coursing through riparian star systems, becoming reservoir, becoming prayer, isolated from the outside yet permeating all the cracks and fractures in rock and soil. This is the subterranean I was gifted as a Nuevo Mexicana descendant of crypto Jews. And this is what the diaspora pulled from me. One corn dolly sleeping in a field of saffron. One gourd tied to a walking stick. Two flames caught weeping in an orchard. 3 honey-dipped saints. Archangel Gabriel placing seed pods upon my belt of roses. Shekhinah bejeweled amongst my mud shrine. A swelling river with many tributaries. 2 soiled aprons. 7 gestures that became postures. And 1 shining pearl whose light I receive every morning. In shadows of assimilation, ephemeral luminosity remains. In the unearthing trail of grandmothers, in the inevitable fruit of yearning, in the quiver of angel sap, in the milking of rose, and in the taking of Shabbat as lover. The blessing is always available when we are ready to receive it. In this, the spirit of crypto-Judaism cannot be contained. It cannot be leveraged for any agenda other than to persist for the liberation of all people and protection of all life. And it will weave across water tables, revealing itself strategically as an infinite melody, so ubiquitous, it even finds a place to live in this poem.
It's a big, broad question, Pablo. So much to say about Burke. You know, like where I grew up, I was born in the valley. Where I grew up is in the sticks, right, South Broadway area, what they call South Broadway area now. But my grandpa, he was a yerbero, a curandero, and his mom was a partera. You know, my great grandma, she was a partera. She delivered babies over there by that pine tree you can see behind me over there near DC Park. Anyway, my grandpa asked him one day. I was like, "What do they call the sticks? The sticks. You know, why they call this neighborhood the sticks? You know, we have Sanjo, and then we have Barelas, and we have all these names. They sound, you know, más Mexicano. You know, with the pronunciation, the sticks. It's just called the sticks. It's not called Las Palas, or I don't know how you say stick, but you know, it's not called the sticks in Spanish. It's just called anyway. I asked him, I was like, "Why do they call it the sticks?" He said, "Because there's a plant that grows there, and it has no leaves. There's 2 of them that have no leaves, just sticks." And they're just like green sticks. And one of them's called cota, and one of them's called canotillo. And one's like a mild diuretic, and one can like help people that want to kick meth. I hope people hear this and help themselves with that plant. I think in English it's called an ephedra plant. But this neighborhood, the Sticks, is apparently named after that. My grandpa, Yerbero, he told me this. He told me the story. My grandpa Juan. And I think Burke is like that. There's a lot of remedios, and a lot of times the remedios grow where the poison's at. You know what I mean? And that's where we need it. So the remedios are all kinds of different things. You know, people sharing. Like there's a man that lives over there behind, next to the freeway, and he's having a hard time. He's living outdoors. My Mexicano neighbors and my neighbors down here, everybody always seems to like share water with him and be kind with him. Because we all understand what it's like to be have different situations like that for ourselves. I mean, 1912, this was Mexico. The new in Mexico is not that long ago. And Albuquerque, the South Valley, I heard it was called Atlisco or Atrisco before, the Spaniards called it Atrisco, but I heard it was from the pronunciation of At, like Atlantis, or, At is Nahuatl for water.
Rivers flow between us. When I consider the river, I consider my love for you, pulsing downstream, wild yet contained, tenacious, holy, all-consuming. Though I may not be able to grasp the fullness of your impact on the entirety of a landmass, I can geographically conceptualize you. I can effort to mythologically understand the complexity of who you are and how we arrived here together. I find relief in the loss of you when I allow myself to be mystified by the downstream of love. I find relief when I capitulate to the bewilderment of a universal longing to return home, as elusive as home may be. When I know the ocean won't refuse you, I know the ocean won't refuse me either. I see your headwaters as a jeweled serpent uncoiling towards a prolific undulation. I see your headwaters as I see your mouth, tectonically pulling, sinking, stretching the densities of space. The tension of your mouth, pulling, sinking, stretching your body towards a culminating release. When I stand along your precipice, where water devours fragments of earth, I am witnessing a gorgeous rupture in time. I am reminded that this is the life we chose, a life on the edge of everything. I am reminded of the holiness of time outside of time, where we made home. It is here among the micaceous stone stacks where the mud wasps enchant us. It is here where the willows engulf us in their courageous, arousing burgundy dreamscapes. Gazing up at a ponderosa, feet quivering in the near freezing water, you catch me saying, "It is perfect to want this, and devastating to know it will end." The river delivers us new versions of ourselves to love, but nothing can alleviate the strain of what has been lost. Nothing can prevent chasms in the earth from continuing to widen once the water begins draining. This is the simple truth, a stunning declaration of earth. And yet, disturbance has an agenda often seen but seldom understood. What if time knew itself the way we think we know it? My memory of you is a mirror that compels me towards freedom. The first time I experienced heaven was in the froth of your mouth. It was when I received the gospel of your curves, swelling, shrinking, in response to unpredictable variables. It was when I learned that trauma and disturbance could influence the emergence of sensitivity, and sensitivity makes life valuable. Like thousands of other deeply rooted Nuevo Mexicanos, I carry within me centuries of mixed lineages who oriented their lives around you. I carry you in my bloodstream, DNA, organs, tissues, in the ways I move and metabolize. I carry you in my politics of desire and in the La Llorona of my heart that is utterly grief-stricken, existing in some kind of eternal loneliness for what has been lost. I carry the grief of a Acequia Madre of Martineztown, who was entirely cemented over by the time I was born. The waters of our ancestors used for farming and tending their animals in this region for 7 generations. Cut off because development made the floods unmanageable and undeniably deviant. When Toni Morrison spoke of flooding and memory, She said that the forced straightening of the Mississippi River in places incited a remembering, not a flooding. She said, "All water has perfect memory and is forever trying to get back to where it was." So what is our memory of you, and what is your memory of us as the people who are made of you? How many times have you changed course in response to colonization and industrialization? How many dreams of you became real in the consciousness of many? And what has that meant for your own desires? At the juncture of the Continental Divide and San Juan Mountains, rippling out ecstatically from below the Earth's surface in a sweep of delicious, foaming luminance, you make your way south towards the Gulf of Mexico, towards home. The grandness of your presence as you journey home has compelled so many humans to channel and engineer you in ways you never imagined yourself to be. We are mapping visions of love. We are mapping visions of love. When a river or stream begins to thread back and forth through a landscape, it is attempting to manage its vast energy flow by increasing resistance and reducing channel gradient. Meandering creates stability through equilibrium. Erosion happens when meandering becomes not only probable, but irresistible. Even if I could predict the wavelength or radius of your curvature, I would still lose you. In order to maintain your sense of dignity, you must speed up as you intensify downstream. Intensifying the meander is a strategy. It is an announcement that something significant is happening that requires a change. The last time we saw each other, I brought you roses, and I wore my ring. The acequia froze in midwinter's embrace. Not even a trickle could be heard in the plum tree icicle passage surrounding our home. I desired to pull us back towards one another against the odds of the current. When we separated, parts of me stayed with you and got deposited on the outer banks. They became a sediment of seeds, silk, and shared sanctities. They became a mud shrine of hair, wood, chips, dust, candle wax, corn mush, and bones. They became strawberry breath, wind-swept reveries, plutonic ruptures, and blessings from butterflies. My love for you remains in the deepest channel of the outer bank, where it slowly accumulates and disintegrates. My love for you remembers itself over and over again, through every emotion imaginable, though I can no longer perceive your openings or closings. To become alluvial is to be moved by love, redirected, scattered, narrowed, fanned, and vulnerable to disturbance in every direction and all at once.
We have to understand how precious it is to maintain the integrity of the soil and the cleanliness of our waters. And I think that it's incumbent on all of us to understand that we're poisoning our aquifers, our irrigation systems through the pollution that we're dumping into the ecosystem. So it's incumbent on us to realize and to take to heart the fact that we control, we are the architects of our own food sovereignty and sustenance.
Sasa nyuma kura, brown love leave me cultura. There's a breeze, la pura. We ride slow through la Jura. Eyes no vibing with duras. Mi corazón sings cultura. Come. Santa Fe moon smooth like Mura. El picado dreams textura. Your soul glows, I segura. Like sake smoking a figura. Every kiss a warm murmura. You and me, that's cultura.
We have to understand how precious it is to maintain the integrity of the soil and the cleanliness of our waters. And I think that it's incumbent on all of us to understand that we're poisoning our aquifers, our irrigation systems.
From Española to La Luna, we dance under stars, mi cura.
So it's
Your
incumbent
laugh
on
breaks
us
dark like
to
Ruda
realize
and heals my mind sin censura. Girl, you shine like escritura. Every breath we take cultura.
So we have to understand that we are the architects of our own food production.
Wow. Okay. Well, I first of all say it's beautiful, and it's also, I guess, people say it's dangerous for sure. Yes, it's rough, but beautiful before rough. Where else you can get red chile? Where else you can get green chile? Where it's so beautiful. I mean, just all the things that we have. We don't chop our own wood. My mom still burns firewood. We get wood from a cousin out in Estancia. We get our piñon from up there too. Living in Burke, you have kind of like a access to different places and cultural products. If you're interested, you can get salt. If you're real lucky, you can get salt from the Zunis. You can get corn from different places. It's drought tolerant and stuff like that. And Burke still has the acequias. In some parts of town, they still got the irrigation ditches.